One of the survivors was a pregnant young lady, and she managed to get away from the massacre and run back up the hill. And at the top of the hill was a large tree that was hollow, and she squeezed into that tree, and that night she had a baby in that tree.
Hey guys, we're at Levi Jackson Park in London, Kentucky at McHarg's Mill, talking to Ron Nicholas from Backroads Boondocks Adventures. Backroads and Boondocks Adventures. We'll leave that in because I'm not all there, and the folks that watches this channel knows that. Backroads and Boondocks Adventures on YouTube. Please check his channel out. He's going to put some new material up soon on it, and it will be worth watching because this man knows a lot. He's the miller here, and they're not milling today because
right now we have a water gate that needs to be fixed. It should be fixed in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be grinding. We'll probably grind on Fridays and Saturdays. But this is an operational mill.
Alrighty, so we'll get to come up here and see some meal, and you sell it?
Yes, we do. We sell cornmeal, white and yellow. Okay,
we'll get some cornmeal, and he's going to show us around the mill, and then he's going to tell us something about a movie that was filmed right here.
Yeah. Welcome to McHarg's Mill. Now, the building you're standing in was built in 1939 by the WPA and the CCC. This was a Works Project Association. This building opened on June the 16th, 1939. So this old girl is turning 84 years old this year. Now, the building is only 84 years old, but we have two mills in this building. To me, the mill is the hopper, the shaker, the cover, and the stones, okay? This one we're looking at here, this was William McHarg Jr.'s, and it was on Robinson Creek about 8 miles south of here, south and east of here.
Now, is that where the stone's at?
The stone is inside here.
Alrighty.
Okay. Mr. McHarg started his mill in 1812 after he came to Kentucky in 1805 with his father. These are the original stones, the original cover and hopper. All of this has been functioning since 1812, and we still grind on it.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's as authentic a meal as you can get.
Yes.
So we got to get some of this.
Yes. All this wood here is chestnut. It's an almost extinct wood. Now, it has been modified some over time. This is where the cornmeal comes out. And if you look in there, you can see some of the stone right there.
All right.
Now, these are traditional stones. They're the flat stones. Yes, that's the top stone you see right there. That's called the driver. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the stone that turns. On flat stones, the top stone turns, the bottom stone stays stationary. Okay, that's how it grinds. Those are the most common type of stones. But come over here.
And the mill comes out right here, right?
Yep, comes out right there. Let me show you the other mill. This is a more interesting mill. This is a coffee mill or a cone mill. In this mill, the stone comes up from the bottom and grinds. It's shaped like a bullet. This is William McHarg Sr.'s mill. This came from McHarg's Mountain in North Carolina in 1805 across the Wilderness Road. This mill doesn't function right now, but it can, and we're going to get it back into working order. So if we do, this will be the only type of cone mill or coffee mill functioning anywhere in the United States.
Wow. So that when that's working, it'd be the only one.
The only one of that
coast
style.
to coast, anywhere, the Virgin Islands, Hawaii, Alaska. You're not going to find one. Has to be right here if you want to see one work when you get it going.
Yes, they're a very unusual type.
I've seen some shaped kind of like that out here in the mill stones. I was wondering, you know, how the heck does that work?
Yep, they come up from the bottom and grind. This is a more ancient style of stone. You wouldn't see these very often. Now, the shaker and the hopper and there's no cover for this because the rock is the cover.
Yeah.
But the shaker and the hopper and the holder are all made by the CCC, and the hopper up there is made from one piece of sycamore.
Wow.
Carved by the CCC.
Wow. So that's carved. Let's get a look at that. That is carved. One piece of sycamore.
One piece of sycamore.
Wow. So this type of milling predates this type over here?
That type of stone generally predates. They still make some of those when they were making those, but this is a more ancient style.
Oh, okay. This, hey, man, that's fantastic.
The flat stones are way more efficient. Now, if you guys notice, there is no wheel on the outside of this mill. We are what's called a tub mill or a turbine. The water comes in on this side of the mill, goes under the mill, down a hill, and strikes a wheel that looks like that one hanging on the wall.
Okay, let me zoom in on that.
Okay, it lays flat under the mill, and the water hits those blades and turns it.
Wow.
So it'd be laying flat like that and turning like.
Okay, so it's laying down, like laying down in the water instead of a.
And the water comes down and strikes those. The force of the water striking the turbines, the speed is what turns it.
So I didn't know that. It's completely different than what you see in the movies and stuff.
It's completely different than you see, like most water mills have the wheels on the side.
Yeah.
That uses the weight of the water to pull the wheel around. This uses the speed of the water to push the wheel around.
Wow. Okay. Let's get a. I'm gonna go over here and get a closer look
ahead.
at that, because
that actually
I had my zoom messed up on that. So this is the actual mill. It's not one of those big paddle boat wheel. This is the wheel.
That's a type of wheel.
Yeah,
that's
the type of wheel. That's not the one, but yeah.
Wheel. That is not one of our wheels.
Yeah.
That is a wheel from another mill that was built in the 1880s.
Okay. Yeah.
That is two pieces of sycamore that have been banded together. This type of mill was the most common in frontier Kentucky for one reason. Everything in this mill can be made from wood or animal hides. Okay? Now you don't have to have any metal to build a mill to work like this.
I don't know how much you guys can see that because it's got some safety glass around it, but hey, now he's going to tell us about this millstone collection, and you were saying it's the largest.
Yeah, here at McHarg's Mill we have the Museum of Mountain Millstones. This is the largest collection of millstones outside the Smithsonian Institution.
Wow.
We have over 100 millstones here. I'd like to point out this one. We were talking about the coffee mill or the cone style mill. This is what they look like when they're apart. The bottom stone here, this little stone shaped like a cone, that's the driver. It goes up into this stone and grinds the corn or wheat, whichever one you want to do.
And this is sitting over the other direction.
It would be flipped in the other, when you saw it inside, it would be flipped on top.
And you said that's why you don't need a cover for it. The stone is the cover.
The stone is the cover, correct.
And this little one goes up in it.
And that's a more ancient style of stone than the flat stones. Now I'd also like to point out over here, look at all these stones. All these stones came from surrounding counties. These are from all over eastern Kentucky. And that was the plan. They collected these stones from 1939 to 1942 when gas rationing for the Second World War stopped them. They never picked up again. There was plans to even have more stones.
Wow. Now, and you have to go to the Smithsonian to see more stones than this in one place.
I don't know if they have more stones on display.
Yeah.
Ours are all out. These big stones right here, these are what's called French burr stones. French burr stones can only come from one quarry just outside of Paris, France. So these stones made a huge journey to get here.
So these are from outside Paris, France?
Paris, France. Say these probably came over in the early 1800s.
Wow, so they come over like by sail?
They would come over in a sailboat. If you'll notice, the French burrs are in pieces because you can't get a huge piece of French burr. So they'd come in pieces and you'd put it together, you'd plaster it all together, and then use it as a stone. It became like a big puzzle.
Wow. And all that journey.
Now most of our stones are made out of this type of stone. This is what's known as hail grit or Rockcastle conglomerate.
Wow.
It's a type of granite, but you can see all the little stones in it. We also have some of our other stones are sandstone. You'd only use sandstone for grinding corn for your livestock, because you can imagine the amount of sand you get with that. This is why they call this a tub mill. The turbines are down in these tubs. That protects them from sticks and floating debris and stuff getting jammed up in them. When the water comes down, it'll turn those wheels and then it'll turn those axles. And that is what turns that big wheel that you saw up underneath there. It's all water powered. This mill only generates 5 to 7 horsepower, and the millstones it turns weighs 1,100 pounds apiece.
Wow. Hey guys, a movie was filmed, the first major
motion picture ever filmed in Kentucky was filmed here. In 1954, they filmed The Kentuckian with Burt Lancaster. He directed and starred in this movie, his first director.
His first movie he directed also. Not to be confused with John Wayne's The Fighting Kentucky. Reason I say that, I confused it with that one.
This was one of the more famous locations in the movie toward the end. If you look across the pond there, Burt Lancaster ran from between those two trees over there. He ran across the pond to tackle some people over here. They actually built a little bridge just under the water so he could run across the pond. Wow. And I thought he was just that good at running across water. It looks like he's running on top of the water, but there's a bridge right under the water. And this is where the movie ended, is here at the mill.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
I'll have to go home and check that out again. I've not seen that since I was a kid, probably.
The movie was also filmed at Cumberland Falls and at our Mountain Heritage Museum just up the road here.
Oh, well, yeah, well, I know the museum. And the museum is, tell us about when this is open, and the museum's open now, because basically it's all under new management and they're really doing something with it.
The City of London, the Tourism Commission of the City of London, has now taken over this park from the state of Kentucky. And they're really making efforts to dress the place back up, to get it fixed back up, and to have these areas open. The Mountain Heritage Museum and the mill will be open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. Thursday through Saturday we're open from 10 to 5, and on Sundays we're open from 1 to 5.
Hey guys, remember that. Come down here and check that out. I remember when we lived in Corbin, we used to come up here a lot to walk, and it was never opened up there.
I've had a lot of people come by say they've lived here their whole lives and never seen the inside of the mill.
Yeah, it was never open. We walked by it, I guess, maybe 24 times, because we'd come up here to walk, and it was never open. So that's the mill and the Mountain Heritage Museum up there.
And the mill, let me tell you this, guys. This is only one of 3 operating water mills in Kentucky. We have us, Mill Springs Mill, and the Weisenberg Mill in Midway, Kentucky. So we're down to 3. At one time, these mills were like Dollar Generals. They were everywhere, because every community had to have one.
There was that many of them?
yeah, there was that many of them. But, well, you got to figure, if you're riding a horse, you can only go so far in a day. So, but these guys, seriously, they were like Dollar Generals. They were everywhere. Now we're down to 3. Not many chances to see one of these operate anymore.
No, and thank the City of London, Kentucky, for putting effort and expense into getting this operational here so you can see it.
They've sunk a lot of money just to get the mill going again.
Thank them so much, because so many places, if you look through our videos, my wife and me, we talk about, we wish the government, city, county, state, in some place would do something with something that's just falling apart and going to waste. Well, here, London's done it. Well, when somebody finally does something like that, you need to give them a big thank you and a big shout out. That's fantastic what London's done. Not just here, but up the road here at the Mountain Heritage Museum. Is that what you call it?
That's it.
All righty. Up there. So you can actually get in that now and so just go by and look at it. So.
Right. And it's a collection of period buildings from around this area. So there's some real history there too.
And folks, you get here and get to talk to this man. He knows what he's talking about. And for somebody, that's a little simple-minded like me, he don't talk over your head. He's a great guide. And check his YouTube channel out. And he's going to tell us before we go about one more thing. If you'll go back in my videos, when I really didn't know what I was doing making videos, is I did a video at this cemetery at Defeated Camp.
Defeated Camp.
He's going to tell us what really happened and about something about Daniel Boone. Hey, he's going to tell us a little bit about Defeated Camp, burial ground over here where the folks was basically buried, where they was killed.
Correct.
And Boone's Trace.
All right, folks, if you look just right across the river, I don't know if you can see it, but Boone's Trace came down that hill right there and crosses the river right here. Just beyond where you can see in those trees there, the McDent party in the fall of 1783 came to Kentucky, and they camped right across the river from here. Sometime during the night, they were overwhelmed by a group of Native Americans, and 24 people were killed. That was the worst massacre on Boone's Trace ever. Only 3 people survived. All 24 of those people are buried in 2 pits across the river right where they fell.
Wow. Wow. And you was mentioning about a lady who was pregnant when the attack happened.
One of the survivors was a pregnant young lady, and she managed to get away from the massacre and run back up the hill. And at the top of the hill was a large tree that was hollow, and she squeezed into that tree, and that night she had a baby in that tree. And that is documented. That is not a story. That is documented during the period.
Wow. And hopefully we'll get to do a video from that location and in Daniel Boone's footsteps on Boone's Trace here soon with you.
Yes. Come back and we'll walk in Daniel Boone's footsteps.
Alrighty. Hey, thank you so much for showing us around the mill and taking the time out of your. And he's busy, folks. I've had to stop the video several times for him to give information to people wanting to visit this. Please come up here and be one of those people wanting to visit this and wanting to look at Boone's Trace, the museum.
Yes, the Mountain Heritage.
The Mountain Heritage Museum. Please come down here and do that. Visit the mill in a couple of weeks. As soon as they can get it going, they're going to be grinding meal, and you can go home and eat it. Hey, we got to tell you, our friend here is a Revolutionary War reenactor.
Yes, I'm a Revolutionary War reenactor. We do early Kentucky history. I can do, my impression is, it varies from, you know, Kentucky farmer to, I'm also do a loyalist ranger impression that we fight with the natives.
Wow.
So when you come to Boonesboro and places like that, you'll see me outside the fort trying to burn the place to the ground.
Oh wow, that's great, man. We got to watch him burn a fort to the ground. You know, we love that kind of stuff.
We haven't succeeded yet, but yeah, we're Butler's Rangers, which was a loyalist ranger group out of Detroit, and they fought with the Shawnee and the Cherokee against the Kentucky settlers.
Wow, but you know, keep trying. You may get the fort burned.
It might happen yet.
Yeah. Please check his YouTube channel out, Backroads and Boondocks Adventures, and come back and see us again. Hopefully he'll come up Harlan. He'll do something for his channel and we can do it with him. But we're going to come down here and pester him again because he's promised to show us some more stuff on site. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Come back and see us again. I believe we say bye at the end of these.